I'm making more money even though I'm selling less items, which is telling me that my new strategy is working. If you guys watched my video a couple weeks ago talking about kind of how I ended 2021 and some goals, one of my goals is to increase my net, which is allowing me to sell less items and make more money. And we'll be getting into that in today's video, as well as I'm going to be showing you guys my January numbers. So how I closed out my January. If you follow me on Instagram, you kind of know it was a rough January personally. I'll share a little bit about that with you guys. Show you my January numbers, my cost of goods, if I hit my goal, how many items I actually sold, the split out between Poshmark and eBay, and then talk about my new strategy and how I know it's working and what exactly I'm doing. Let's jump right into it. If you're new to this channel, I'm Sarah from Sarah's Styles. I am a Poshmark and eBay reseller, thrifted, a little bit of liquidation, but I've really gotten out of that and more into thrifting Goodwill outlet bins. I sell primarily women's clothing, shoes, and purses. Even if you don't sell that kind of stuff, this channel, this content is still going to be useful to you because I talk about numbers, how to use your numbers, how-to tutorials on eBay and Poshmark, and how to really use your numbers to drive strategic decisions in your business, regardless of what you sell. So I do work part-time hours. I'm a mom of 3 children. My youngest is in part-day preschool, so I have about 2.5 hours, 5 days a week that I work kid free, and then I'll do like shipping with him. Sometimes I work on Saturdays and source a little bit. However, in January, if you guys follow my Instagram, you know this, but in January, it was a super rough month. At the beginning of January, the kids were out of school, so I was doing bare minimum. I was working about 5 hours, maybe max a week, and that was shipping, sending offers, and then listing for my drafts. I do have a virtual assistant. I have a lot of videos. I have I'll link up here the processing playlist about my process for a virtual assistant, but I do have a virtual assistant that definitely saves me. And I had about a month ahead on photos and drafts. This absolutely, without a doubt, saved me in January. I did have a rough month. So like I said, at the beginning of January, kids were out of school, so I was with them, not really working. And then my husband's grandma was hospitalized and not doing well, so he flew out to the New England area to be with her. And thankfully he did, because he got to see with her and be with her before she passed. When he came back, he was exposed to COVID, and then we all got COVID. So my kids were out of school, and then I was single parenting, so I didn't really work when he was gone, and then we had COVID. I am actually on day 12 right now of symptoms, and today I'll probably still nap. It definitely just, between all of us, I was not working. I was still listing every single day, and I will I will post a video up here about how I was able to do this, but getting ahead allowed me to continue to make sales. I made less sales, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but it continued to let me make sales because I had drafts and photos ready to go, and I do have a virtual assistant. But the entire month of January, I was working maybe 5 hours. I was doing shipping. I wasn't even sending out offers when I was really, really sick. I was listing every single day because I had drafts, still kept doing that every single day. And that was about it. Shipping, I haven't sourced since the beginning of January. So thankfully, I call this my backstock. It's not a money pile to me. If it does, it's a death pile if it doesn't get listed. This is backstop. It is continuing to be listed, but it allows me to continue to list. It allows me to continue to take photos, even though I have not sourced in 5 weeks. So that's where I'm at with January, just so you guys know a little bit of my background. Let's get into my January numbers, how I ended the month working only 5 hours, essentially like a passive income for the month of January. Reselling is not passive. This is passive in the sense of I did a bunch of work to get me through January when I was not able to work. It means now in February, I need to hit the grind again. I need to get more inventory, and I really need to be taking more photos so that I can get ahead again. Definitely what allowed me to be consistent. So we are looking, if you're new to the channel, this is the Sarah Styles Sales and Trends Dashboard. It is for sale. I will link a video, or I will link it down below so you guys can purchase it. You have access to these numbers for your reselling business. It's up to 25 platforms. You track and manage your own data. But this is telling me my monthly goal is $10,000. 88% of the way there. y'all. Like, still pretty stoked about that because I was working 5 hours. Something else I want to know, and let me know down below if you guys are noticing this as well. Sales were slower in January in general, I think, not just because I was working less, but also because the rates of COVID were like astronomical, right? So the entire country had COVID, right? Or they knew someone, or, so everyone was sick, not really shopping. And inflation has really gone up, which means people have less money in their pocket. Tax credits are kind of ending. Everyone's broke after Christmas. So I didn't expect, even if I was working more than 5 hours and, working more, I really didn't expect January to be a huge month because of everything that was going on in the world, which is even more reason that my strategy to increase my net was helpful, right? So I am making more money even though I'm selling less items. So $8,850 I sold in women's clothing, shoes, and purses on Poshmark and eBay. That's a total of 250 items I sold. And you see my average sale price for that is $35.04. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in depth in a minute, in my strategy and how I'm increasing my net. Sell-through rate is 10%. That's pretty down for me. I'm selling less items. So sell-through rate, if you're new to the channel or kind of new to reselling, sell-through rate is how many items you're selling out of how many items that you have for sale. If you sell every item that you have, your sell-through rate is 100%. So for the month of January, I sold 10% of the inventory that I had for sale. I'm usually closer to 15%. So I'm going to be mindful of that number. I think, as mentioned, there's a couple of reasons for this. So it makes sense. I don't think it's necessarily something I was doing, but I'm still going to be mindful of this. You want to make sure, I like to keep that number steady because it tells me that I'm doing things right. If it starts declining, am I not, doing right things, appeasing the algorithm on the platforms? Am I buying worse stuff, things that people don't want? Do I need to recheck in with my strategies and stuff? For me, I kind of know why it's at 10%, but I am going to be mindful and watch that a little bit more. One other thing I want to talk about is this listed items versus sold items. If you follow me and you've watched in the past, or if you guys follow Chris at A Daily Refinement, he talks about reseller nirvana, selling as many items as you are listing. And for the past couple of months, I had achieved reseller nirvana. I was listing 10 items a day. I was selling on average 10 items a day. That's really what I like to be at. And that's where I know, hey, I'm kind of doing things right, keep up with my strategy. This is down a little bit. I was listing more items than I was selling. However, like I said, the inflation is going up. Everyone was sick. So hopefully, numbers are kind of on the decline. Hopefully February picks up a little bit with people not being as sick. But inflation, it means people are spending more money on groceries. They have less extra money to be shopping. So it's something I'm going to be mindful of. And then as well as, I wasn't really working. So I'll take anything that I can get at this point. I want to talk a little bit about the strategy. We'll be looking at this. So actually, take that back. I'm going to share with you guys my Poshmark split out, Poshmark and eBay split out, and then we'll come back and take a look at that chart and talk a little bit about my profit and how, even though I sold less items, I'm making more money because I'm working on increasing that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the split out between Poshmark and eBay. You can kind of scroll on down here. You can see eBay, I did $6,032. It's a little down, it's a couple items, honestly. I would say that's about net neutral. I wasn't growing on eBay. I did a little bit less, but not necessarily significantly less, net neutral. Again, reasons for this. It doesn't mean that I need to not do something in my business if this is going to continue and I want to continue to make more money or keep it steady. But that's kind of where I'm at. And then Poshmark, I did significantly better in Poshmark, $2,778 on Poshmark. That really is what kind of kept me helped me increase my profits as well as get pretty close to that number that I wanted to be at, that $10,000. Didn't quite hit it, but close to that $10,000. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about, we're looking at this chart, my monthly average profit. You can see my cost of goods. If you follow the channel, I'm working very hard on decreasing my cost of goods. I am out of space. I talked a little bit about my year-end video, but I'm out of space. I can't have more items to sell. I can't sell more items. So the options for me are selling higher price items to make more money, is selling higher price items, or decreasing my expenses, which is cost of goods, and or I pay for a virtual assistant, if I was paying for storage fees, anything that goes into the expenses. My gross, staying the same or increasing that. But if I decrease my expenses and my cost of goods, my bottom line net is going to increase. I'm going to end up making more money. So I have been working very hard at decreasing this cost of goods right here, $6.61. So let's go ahead. We're looking at $28.79. Let's go back to a year ago and look at what it was a year ago, and you'll see how I'm making more money now. My average cost of goods last year was $8.12. So $2. It doesn't seem like a lot, but $2 times 300 items, it adds up quick. You have to do what's right for you. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the strategy and what I'm doing to increase my average sale price as well as lower my cost of goods. But you can see here, my average sale price was $29. I've increased my average sale price $6 while decreasing my cost of goods, which means that I am making, so if you want to look at this current year, once you take out my cost of goods, I netted, now this doesn't include my expenses and how much I'm holding for taxes. If you guys want to see more all the way into my P&L, make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications, or go check out my How Much Money I Made playlist. I do a monthly video on my profit and loss. So my gross, taking out my cost of goods, taking out my shipping, my fees, my expenses, and then how much money I save for taxes. So this is just taking out cost of goods. In 2012, I netted, taking out cost of goods, $7,197, even though I sold less items. I sold almost 30 items less. And if you look here, my net would have been $5,948. So, $2,000 more just by decreasing my net and increasing my average cost of goods. Sounds easy, right? Oh, wrong screen. Sorry, guys. Sounds easy, right? So just go ahead and do that. So I'm not just going to tell you I did that and it's working. I'm going to show you exactly how I'm doing it and how I know what to buy so that this strategy can work and increase. Guys, I'm increasing my net profit by $2,000 even though I sold less items. Like, who doesn't want to do that? If you follow the channel or you're new to the channel, I follow my numbers. I look at the numbers to help me make strategic decisions. I want to increase my average sale price. I'm going to go ahead and look at what categories and what sourcing spots have a higher average sale price, as well as which ones are giving me a lower cost of goods. So let's go ahead and take a look. Guys, it's the numbers. You can have access to these numbers as well. That is my platform split out. I'm going to go ahead and come on up here to, those are brands. Let's take a look at categories. So this is my profit. Over here, you have your sell-through rate. Remember, a sell-through rate is how many items you're selling out of how many items that you have for sale. So a higher sell-through rate means I'm selling more quantity, more volume of what I have. Average sale price is going to be down on the bottom. So anything up here, like, that's lit. That is, I'm selling a lot of it. I'm selling it at a high average sale price. If you're new to not new to the channel, this is no surprise for you, but bags is my highest profit, $66, average sell-through of 15%. So anything above my monthly sell-through, for me, that was 10%. 15% is 5% above. That is one of my better categories. It is performing better than my average monthly. So I'm focused on purchasing bags. I go to the thrift store. That's where I go first. I am at the bins. I am honed in on finding bags. Obviously, you have to have the knowledge around this. Your data is going to look differently. You may not know bags, and so it may not work well for you, right? Like, I have learned bags. I've taken the time to research bags, and that is one of the best categories for me. Sweaters is up there. Some of this is going to be... No, we're going to leave it at that. Sweaters is up there. Sell-through rate is over my 10%. On average, I'm profiting. So this is taking out my cost of goods. On average, my profit for this is $42. And then we'll look at jeans, 13% sell-through rate. Profit for this is a little bit lower at $26, but it has a higher sell-through rate. So I'm definitely good there. And this is my profit again, right? So the average, this is my profit is $26 plus my average cost of goods is $7-ish. So you're looking at an average sale price of about $33. Still definitely higher than the $29 average sale price that I was looking at last year. So that's an increase. Jackets and coats, sell-through rate is 11%, profit is $30. So I'm definitely looking at those. And then the last one is shoes. I've really started to move my business into like this niching down. And guys, you have to follow your data, follow your knowledge, follow what inventory you have available. But for me, niching down is working. There's one other strategy, so stay tuned. Don't get off just yet. But I am working on niching down on those categories that I really know. I will go into a thrift store. I will hit up bags, shoes, jeans, sweaters sometimes. Probably get off the sweaters a little bit because they don't really have sweaters. They're moving into like spring inventory, not a ton of sweaters at the stores that I shop at. That's what I'm honing in on. When I go to the bins, you can't really do that as much, right? They don't have it separated by categories. But when I find things that are not in those niches for me, I'm being very diligent in making sure I am not purchasing anything that does not have an average sale price of $35. Unless it has a really high sell-through rate, right? If there's something that's going to sell for $20, but I'm going to list it and it's going to sell right away, I'm going to take that $20, right? Like I'm not going to say no to things that have a huge sell-through rate, you know, like a BOLO thing. But on average, I am making sure, being very diligent when I am sourcing in sticking to those categories. I will go to one store, I will hit those categories, I will go to another store. I'm not wasting my time, you know, spending an hour on tops when those are not selling at a high average sale price. The second thing that I've really been working on is my sourcing. I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I want to show you the data, show you that I know that it's actually working. I did a lot of liquidation. Before we look at the numbers, let me give you a little background. I did a lot of liquidation 2020, 2021 into the beginning of 2021. Majority of the reason for that was things were shut down and I was remote teaching my children. So I just didn't have the time to go out and source. But that came at a price. You can see, you know, last year, my cost of goods, it costs more to do liquidation than it does thrift store prices for me, right? This is going to be different for you. If you have thrift stores that have, you know, astronomical prices, it may be better for you to do liquidation. For me, the average cost of goods was higher. The average sale price was lower. I have good thrifting. I can find reasonable priced items that have a high average sale price in the quantity that I want. And so I moved more towards the summer. I don't think I've bought a pallet since maybe the end of this summer. I was like, I am done with liquidation unless something ridiculous comes out, which I haven't seen yet. But I am moving into shopping more at the bins and shopping more thrift store because I have more time now. Things opened up again. And I want to make more net. So let's go ahead and take a look and see, is this actually working? You can see down here, the bins. My average cost of goods at the bins is $1.90. So if you're new and you don't really know what the bins are, this is the Goodwill outlet. People call them the bins because you just put a bunch of raw materials, donations into bins and you really search for them. So it takes more time. It's not sorted out by category, but for us, the average pound, I think it's $1.49 a pound. I do a lot of shoes, which makes my average cost of goods a little bit higher, closer to $2 because, you know, shoes weigh a little bit more. But look at this, being diligent and only purchasing what is going to bring me that high average sale price. My average profit at the bins is $38, guys. If you come down here and look at one of the pallets, you can see here, this palette, it's palette of free people. So this is a palette all of free people. Average cost of goods, $16. Palette liquidation gets pricey, but then it just comes to you, right? So you have to figure out what works best for you. But $16 average cost of goods, and I'm making a profit of $9.77. So I can tell that my strategy here is definitely working. If you like this video, YouTube thinks you'd also like this video, I will link a playlist here of how to make money reselling, and then make sure to hit that subscribe button.